Only you can choose what your life is going to be like. If you don't make a decision, I would like for you to just stop for a second and understand that you still made a decision. So the lack or the act of not making a decision in itself, by default, is to make a decision to do nothing. The reason I say that is because in your entire life, you're watching this training, you're watching this video, and if you already watched the previous training, I started to introduce things to you, concepts to you, like the two types of income, active and passive. I mentioned the Rule 72, and I talked about how inflation and taxes hold and work against you, but they also can work for you. Now, what I want you to hear is you need to take action, and you need to take action today. Stop waiting for the perfect time. Stop waiting for the best opportunity. In this video, if you stick around, I'm going to teach you the wealth formula. But before I teach you the wealth formula, first, I want to talk about your goal. Because in the last video, you should have wrote down your definite chief aim. If you didn't, stop the video, go do that now. Again, just write something. Write something, because in a year from now, when your life is totally different, you can look back and you can remember where you are today. And where you are today will be completely different than where you are in 1 year. We always overestimate on what we can accomplish in 1 year, and we underestimate on what we can accomplish in 10 years. In 10 years' time, your life is going to be so much different. You already have a beautiful life. You already have an amazing life. I want to ask, what is that definite chief aim? Are you clear with where you want to go? Because once I unleash the wealth formula and I show you the wealth formula, and you see it in action, it's going to be game-changing for you and your loved ones. Now, before I do that, I want to talk about one thing. I want to talk about this one word that has killed more people. This one word that is responsible for more deaths than anything else in the English language. This one word destroys lives. This one word, if you don't have it written down, you definitely have talked about it, and you would definitely desire it. Would you like to know what this one word is? This one word that we think changes everything. This one word that we think will solve all of our problems if only we can get it to happen. But yet this one word steals us of all of the life that we could have had by the time we reach it. It's too late. That word is retirement. If you are seeking retirement, I want to have a very heart-to-heart conversation with you right now, and I want to challenge your thought process on what is retirement and what is the purpose of retirement. So my time as an air traffic controller, I was always told how blessed we were. And it was. Air traffic control is an amazing career, great career, okay? But the thing is, we were forced to retire at the age of 56. However, I want to take you back and I want to give you a little short history lesson, and I want to explain to you how retirement robs us of everything that we could have. Henry Ford, with the T-model car, he popularized the assembly line. The assembly line brought in men and women who would normally work for their family business, who would normally be out selling and bartering and making a good living through business. And these men and women found security, found certainty, found steadiness by working on the assembly line. It was a blessing to them. Imagine this man and woman who sits down at this assembly line and they work at that assembly line for 20, 30 years. And the entire time, every day they show up, they think, I can't wait for retirement. I can't wait till one day I no longer have to show up here and I get to do whatever I want. I can't wait till one day I no longer have to answer to the man because I am going to retire. That's what a lot of people would equate to the American dream. And again, if this is your goal, I just want to challenge it for just a second. I want to give you some friendly advice. And also, I'm not only going to give you advice, I'm going to show you and I'm going to explain to you math. Let's just talk about working at the assembly line. What are you learning? What are you pouring into yourself? You are learning one skill, one trade, and you are doing that same thing for 20 and 30 years in order to retire, in order to collect a fraction of what they normally pay you. in what's called a pension. And then the government says, hey, every paycheck you get, I'm going to collect a portion of that and I'm going to put it over here in this little bucket. And one day when you reach a certain age, we're going to let you have some of it back. I don't like that. I would rather for the government to let me do what I will and choose what to do with my money. But again, though, I chose to learn how to make money. And that's what I'm going to be teaching you today in the wealth formula. Now, with the assembly line, that is 20 and 30 years of people showing up to the same job every day and hating their life, only to look forward to this thing we call retirement, only to finally then go on vacation, finally then go enjoy life, only then to go and spend time with our loved ones. That age is 70 years old, 62, 70 years old. It depends on what type of retirement you choose to do. If you do early retirement or if you retire at 70 years old. This is the issue, guys. What is the average life expectancy of an American citizen right now? Do you know? The average life expectancy today is 77 years old. Younger if you are a male. Males tend to die earlier than females because of all the stress females puts us up under. I am joking. That was a joke. But seriously, males do die younger than females, and females tend to live older. So like the ages on those, average age for a male is like around 72. Average age for a female is around 82, right? Almost a 10-year difference, but the average of both of them is 77. Now, why is that important? Because if your goal is to retire, do you realize that you are literally wishing your life away, working and doing the same thing for 20 and 30 years to hit an age where you only have 7 years to live? When I was an air traffic controller, like that's the thing that really like made me like scared. I literally got scared because I was in a place where I was completely secure. I got a paycheck no matter what. My health insurance was good. Life was very easy. Obviously I had to show up and do a really good job and all those things. Like, you know, that was part of being a professional. But the thing that scared me the most is whenever I arrived at my first facility, it was during the time where baby boomers are retiring. And all the older controllers, they trained me. And then I started to hear and I started to follow them after they retired and separated from air traffic. And I started to see how they no longer had a purpose. Instead of being happy and all that, they were worried about making ends meet. And then they would go get a part-time job somewhere. Can you imagine being a highly skilled expert at one thing and then being told that you can no longer do it anymore? And then in order to make ends meet because your retirement wasn't what you thought it was going to be, now you have to go in your retirement at the end of your life whenever you've already wasted all that time, and now you're trying to fix it, but you can't. The average Social Security check is $1,783.55. You're gonna work your entire life for less than $2,000 a month. Through the power of real estate and using the wealth formula, which I'm gonna show you in just a second, you can do that with one deal. You can buy one deal, one property, one house, one building that will replace your entire Social Security check. One. I personally, I threw this up on the board where I can show you, and here it is. I've got one door, brings in $1,200 a month. It is free and clear. It's paid off. So out of that $1,200, I still have to pay insurance, a little bit of upkeep, not much at all. I got another one that is a 100% Section 8 or housing authority property, meaning the government pays me the rent every month, and that one we collect $800. It is also free and clear, and I've got many other properties. But those two properties combined is $2,000 a month. You take $2,000 a month times 12, that's $24,000 a year, and then you multiply that by the 7 years that you may live at the age of 70. If you wait for the Social Security, that's $168,000 that you are trading your life for. Retirement kills more people than any other word in the English language. It is a death sentence. You can literally buy the worst deal now and wait 20 and 30 years and it will replace your Social Security. Why? Because of inflation. Now let's go check out the wealth formula. The 4 steps of wealth formula. It's very simple. You need to understand what you're going to put into the wealth formula. You're going to figure out how long you leave it in there. And then you're going to understand what yield you are getting. And then you're going to learn how much you want when you exit. Or in some of your cases, you're still going to look for that retirement, which is perfectly fine, but just understand how you're retiring, how you're going to exit. That's all I ask. All right, so back to the wealth formula. How much are you putting in? How long are you leaving it in? What is your yield on it? And then what do you expect to get when you exit? All right, so let's do a little exercise. All right, remember, I'm gonna make simple math, but you have to participate. If you do not do this and you don't participate while you're listening to this training, you're not going to retain it. You're not going to consume it. It's not going to be a part of you. This wealth formula needs to become a part of you on everything you look at, everything you analyze. Every time you make a financial decision, you need to be thinking this. Step one, how much are you going to put into it? Let's just say, for time's sake, you draw a line on your piece of paper. I want you to draw 6 lines, and each one of those lines, we're going to have 4 columns. On column number 1, you're going to write $165 all the way down all 6 times. Okay? Now, in column number 2, we're going to write down what is the yield or the interest or the return on investment or the ROI that we want to get on that $165. Now, before we continue, I want you to understand that in the wealth formula, all we're talking about is something so simple. It's talking about taking $165, putting it into an investment account. I did not say savings account. I did not say checking account. I said investment account. You're going to put it into an investment account, and that is the account where you use to invest. You don't use it whenever times get rough. You don't use it whenever your kid is sick. You don't use it to pay off debt. You go figure out another way. Do not touch this account ever. This account is used for investments only. And you're going to put $165 in that account every month. If you leave that money in that account for 25 years, you're going to have $49,500 with a 0% interest. Is that wealthy? You tell me. To me, no, I would cry, okay? Because inflation is going to come down, so you can take someone who makes $50,000 today in 10 years at a 3% inflation rate. That same $50,000 has a buying power of around $37,000. So I'll repeat that. If someone's making $50,000 today in 10 years at an inflation rate of 3%, buying power on that same $50,000 will be equivalent to $37,000. So you need to learn how to control the yield on your investment, the return on your investment. Before we go to line 2, listen, you can do this with a couch cushion. You don't need to go put in an investment account. If you want to do that and get 0% yield, great. Take your $165, cut out a hole in the wall, put it in there, and then patch it back up and do that every month, okay? And in 25 years, you're going to have almost $50,000. And it's going to be less with inflation. It's going to be about $37,000. All right, so line 2, you're going to do the exact same thing. $165 every month. And now we're going to learn how to get 3% yield on our investment. Okay, this is, you can literally go put it into a savings account or some type of CD. You can get around 3% return. In 25 years, you're going to have $73,000. Now, by now, you might be like, oh, wow, like, okay, that's still not that much money. You're correct. That's not that much money at all. This is all about learning how to get your American dream. You have to choose. You have to make a choice to learn how to get your American dream. $165 in 25 years at 3% yield is $73,000. You can do that in a savings account. Next line, $165,000 at 6% yield. 6%, you can still go to the bank. It doesn't take much effort at all to get 6% yield on your return. In 25 years, you can have $114,000. Now, up until this point, I want you to think about the skill level of the person that can get up to 6% return on their money. You can literally go to the bank will take your money, and then they will go out and they will make 15, 20, 30% on your money, and they will turn around and pay you 6 to 3% on your money. That is your choice. Again, investment account. This is the wealth formula. Next line. $165 every month, 10% yield is $218,000 in 25 years. Do you know how to? First, I told y'all how to get 3 and 6% return on your money. Now the question is, do you know how to get 10% return on your money? Raise your hand if you do. Okay, if you do not know how to get 10% return on your money, there's this thing called a mutual fund. You go to a broker and they will take your money and they will go and make 20, 30, 15% return on your money, and they will pay you 10% on your money, okay? Notice I keep saying that other people take your money and they go out and make more money with it. That is because they learn this formula. Next line, $165 a month, 15% yield. In 25 years, you will have $535,000. Is that wealthy to you? Now, do you know how to make 15% return on your money? I can answer that one easy. Real estate. On average, a bad rental will make 10% plus return on average. And that's a bad rental. Okay, bad deal. All right, so next line, $165 a month, 20% yield in 25 years will make you $1.4 million. Now, the question is, what yield will you learn how to get? Because using the wealth formula, that's the key. All you need to do is learn how to get the yield you desire in order to accomplish your American dream. You can easily get 15 to 20% investing in real estate. Easily. Majority of every deal that I'm a part of, I have $0 invested into it of my own money, and therefore that is an infinite return. I don't think I've ever done a deal where I didn't have an infinite return by the end of the deal. And what I mean by that is I go into several deals, and the beginning of the structure, I might even be losing money. But by the time I do the strategies and the things at the end of the structure, when I exit completely, like I get all my money back plus some, and then it's infinite. There's ways where you can literally do deals and the bank will pay you tax-free money. So think about that. So that's the wealth formula. Again, know what you're putting in, know how long you're leaving it, and understand what yield you will get, and then understand what you will exit with. That's the basis of the wealth formula. Now, what's going to really hold you up is what we call the 3 walls. So there's 3 walls that's going to prevent you from taking action today. The first wall is knowledge. Now, with knowledge, if that's the wall holding you up, holding you back, it is so easy to fix. Okay, knowledge is everywhere. You can literally go and get on YouTube right now and you can watch video after video after video after video, and it's going to give you the knowledge. Okay, you will know what a subject to transaction is just by Googling and YouTubing subject to. There's plenty of videos on it. The issue is it the right kind of knowledge? Not only are they going to tell you what it is, but are they going to tell you how to do it? That's the missing piece in that knowledge, okay? So you're going to go out and you're going to say, oh, okay, subject to, I get it now. Like, you know, the deed is like a receipt whenever I go through the grocery store, and now, okay, so I can leave that in there, and then now it's note, okay, I'm leaving that in place, but then I'm still owning the, like, what? Like, you've got to understand this stuff, right? So only understanding and learning the knowledge, again, you've got to learn how to actually execute on it. So for instance, you can read a recipe to bake a cake. Do you know how to bake a cake? When you read the recipe and you put the ingredients in the bowl exactly like the recipe and you put it in the oven exactly like it said, does the cake turn out exactly the way that it was meant to be? The answer is yes, right? As long as you follow the recipe to a T. The issue with all of the knowledge, all of the courses out there is they don't have a recipe. They have pieces of the recipe. They'll have one course over here that says, hey, you need 2 cups of milk. I don't bake cakes. 2 cups of milk, and go get that. And then they'll have another video over here and they'll say, you need chocolate. I don't know what else goes in baked cake. Terrible, but my point is it's incomplete. And because it's incomplete, it's going to leave you frustrated, irritated, lost. And now you're going to hit that second wall, and it's lack of confidence. Lack of confidence is the second wall. First wall is knowledge. Second wall is lack of confidence. That lack of confidence comes when you don't have a clear path, when you don't have someone to guide you, when you're listening to the wrong people. The third issue is money. For some reason, I think this is the easiest one to solve, but yet it's the one that holds most people back. You know, there's a saying about if you go find a good deal, the money will come. That is only true if you follow the correct recipe. The issue is you guys are following the wrong recipe. You're doing it out of order. If you want to wholesale a deal, go find the buyer first. That way, when you have a contract on it and you only have 1 week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks to close, you don't waste 2 weeks finding the buyer and then they have to back out because the bank foreclosed on the property before you could get it across the finish line. Happens every day. How do you get speed? You get a clear vehicle with a clear process that has a map for you to follow, and then you execute. You execute, you execute. Now, I'm gonna take you, I'm gonna sit down with you, and I'm about to show you, again, deeper into the power of the wealth formula. And we're going to talk about inflation and what it will do for you if you leverage it. Let's take a look. All right, so this is the usdebtclock.org. Amazing tool that you can go look at if you haven't seen this already. I find this fascinating, right? Just looking at United States of America, which is a business, talking about things that are businesses, right? Like churches, they are a business. Your household, your family, you are a business. Anything that spends money and also makes money is a business. You have income and you have expenses, and what's left over is profit, and that's how you continue to thrive in your financial world. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because on my iPad right here, I wrote down these big numbers, okay? $35 trillion in debt. That's the US national debt. $35 trillion. Above it is the US federal tax revenue. That's how much revenue the United States government has coming in as tax income. $4 trillion. The issue with this is the debt greatly outnumbers the income. If that happens to you or me, that is called bankruptcy, and we lose everything we own. However, the government is allowed to do it because the Federal Reserve literally prints money. They don't call it printing money, they call it quantitative easing. The reason this is important, guys, and the reason I'm throwing it in right here is because you need to understand that no one's coming to save you. No one's going to come and help you figure out how to become financially free. Nobody is going to come and save you. Your United States government, which I love to death, I am a very patriot, God-loving family man. And when I look at this debt clock, and because I understand business, it makes me sick at my stomach because all I see is the future of my kids, the future of my grandchildren, the future of their grandchildren, and they will still be in debt. This will only get worse. As you notice, all of the numbers are going up, not down. Every one of them. There's only one clock on here that is actually going down. And it's going to shock you when I tell you and I point it out. But the United States government taxes its own citizens to death. And then it turns around and tax corporate, your businesses, everything else. As you notice at the top of this clock, you have income tax, payroll tax, excise tax, estate and gift tax, corporate tax, and tariff tax. Do you know what a tariff tax revenue is? That's the only clock on this entire screen that's actually going down. Everything else is going up. You see on this screen, America's tariffs increases on China. Tariffs is how we charge other countries and we make money on imports and exports. Why is this important to know? Because the tariff tax is going down on this clock. And because it's actually going down on this clock, who do you think's going to pay the debt that's owed? Us. There's only a couple of different options that they have. Other countries pay it, the citizens pay it, or the nation goes bankrupt. That's it. You need to understand this. You need to understand what type of situation we're in here. All right, now let's look at inflation calculator. Now, what's cool about this is if you would have got started in 2020 and you would have invested $100,000 into real estate, into one door, okay? Today, inflation alone would have made you $21,000. Let's zoom in on this. So the inflation calculator, if you would have invested $100,000 in real estate, bought one property in 2020, in 2024, you would make $21,000 in equity. in appreciation. So what that means is if you bought a property for 100K, inflation, if you bought a property for 100K, inflation comes in, and let's just say that inflation is 3%, it's going to rise up, and then you end up with a spread of $21,000. That's with none of your debt being paid off. And that's what I'm talking about with the wealth formula. You need to understand what yield or percentage you're actually making on your money. So another example, let's say that we bought a property last year, 2023, and we invested $100,000, would now be $3,000 wealthier. Let's say we pull this back and we go back to 2019, $123,000. What about 2010? $44,000. What about 2000? $83,000. Now, what you really need to comprehend, like on the wealth formula, is $100,000 in debt, right, is negative, but your property is, let's say, $200,000. So that gives you an existing equity of $100,000, but now you're paying down this debt. So that $183,000 that we just saw right there could actually be 100% equity. And now you have the power to go to the bank and borrow more money to buy more real estate. And this is the power of the wealth formula. Like, you need to understand what yield you are getting on your money, and then you need to understand what skill, knowledge that you need to learn or take in order to grow your wealth. How much are you putting in? How long are you leaving it in? What yield are you getting? And then how much do you want at the exit? At the exit. Let's go ahead and look at life expectancy at birth in the United States. 77 years. 77 years old, and you're most likely buying into the whole idea of working till retirement. If that is your goal, again, I challenge your perspective. Why would you work 70 years of your life? I guess you would only actually work 50 years of your life, but still, you're waiting till 70 years old to hit this thing called retirement, whenever you literally can do it now if you choose to learn how to do it. You just have to go and choose to learn what it takes to make and earn a higher yield on your money. If you're banking on Social Security, monthly statistical snapshot as of August 2024. All right, Social Security benefits, August 2024. Here's the total. Average monthly benefit, $1,783.55. You're working your life away to shoot for retirement for a paycheck of $2,000 or less. Supplemental Security, $700 a month. There's nothing out there that's going to come and save you. There's nothing out there that's going to come and help you become more wealthy except for you. You have to make the decision today to learn how to accomplish and get the American dream that you want. You need to learn a skill where you can get the higher yield so that you can accomplish what you desire most. It's financial independence, financial freedom, and financial abundance. Financial independence, you are now able to have a choice of not having to have a steady job. Financial freedom, you're able to travel. Financial abundance, you're able to help others and change the world. What level of financial freedom do you want? Financial success do you want? Don't let the three walls hold you back. Lack of knowledge, lack of confidence, lack of money can all be solved right now today. If you want to pursue this journey, then I'll see you in the next video where I'll show you how to get ready and prepare now so you can move fast in this up and coming recession. It might not happen this year or next, but it is coming. Recessions happen, and that is the time where you can change your life, your generation's life, your future forever. But you have to be ready, you have to prepare today. Let me know what your takeaway is in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.